Yeah, I mean, I lead all of our brand efforts here at United Airlines, but we work very closely with our performance marketing team. I think what we've seen, over time is how important, the consumer journey is versus the just straight marketing funnel. We know consumers come into the consumer journey at all different portions, right? They might see something within consideration. It doesn't generally just start top to bottom, I think, like we always saw. So we work really in partnership with that performance marketing team to ensure that we're pulling that thread through, everything from the video that we do or activations that we do in more of an awareness media space, that hopefully we are continuing to kind of pool that group up within our cookies and pull them through and ensure that they're getting additional messaging from us to go ahead and book their flight with United.
And please elaborate a bit more. I understand you had your first brand campaign in 10 years.
Yeah, we actually, performance media is something that United has done a long time, but we launched our first brand campaign in 10 years in May. It's really been a labor of love for the team, to come back into the branding space after that much time. Like we've been really seeing amazing metrics in places like, increasing brand preference, being a leader in aviation. We really came big into the space in May, and then we've been working all throughout the fall, and you'll actually see us in a lot of places, even throughout the rest of the year, just really trying to hit not only some tentpole moments, but utilizing all channels across the board to make sure that, our target audience is really seeing our message.
Now, we've just been through a period of massive disruption. You're well aware of it, having worked in the travel industry with the pandemic and really putting a damper on the industry. But now things are roaring back. And at the same time, it also changed people's media habits. So, how has this dynamic, these changes, affected your media mix and maybe your performance marketing efforts?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic, not only did it affect us all as consumers, but it really did affect, especially the travel companies. I'm at United Airlines and I've been there about 7 months now. And previous to that was at Hilton, really saw the complete, decimating of our industries. We had to completely rethink not only what we were doing in media and marketing, but as a company, really try to look at what was working hardest for us. And then as consumers, we were all kind of glued to our couch for a little while. So it's no wonder that more consumers were consuming more content across the board, especially in more streaming channels. Over the past few months, years, we've actually seen an incredible increase in those streaming spaces, not only because there's just more content out there, there's more partners out there. During the pandemic, Peacock launched. We actually just extremely recently saw the launch of Disney Plus with ads, as well as, Netflix with ads, some newer partners even to the space, and then a whole bunch of partners in between that. So now more than ever, there is just more content to consume. We have seen a slowdown with that, but I do think it has, of course, impacted our overall mix. I think what we're doing here at United is how do we continue to leverage those tentpole moments within linear TV, such as sports, for instance, while really concentrating on where people are consuming content from a long form video standpoint across all of our streaming partners, and really leaning into, another channel I think that was incredibly impacted positively from the pandemic was TikTok, right? I think before the pandemic hit, TikTok hadn't really hit that gigantic rise that we all saw in the beginning. So that's really an area that we're leaning into as a social media team, being one of our key channels and platforms to move forward in the future.
So finally, Brittany, I just wanted to ask you what's on your radar screen for, let's say, the next 6 months to a year. I know, there is some uncertainty out there with the economy and what's going to happen, but what do you see? Is there any bold predictions or anything you'd like to see?
Yeah, awesome question. I think that there's so much happening in the media and the marketing space. It's almost incredibly difficult to keep up. I think one thing to watch is the continued consolidation of our media companies, right? I think we saw a lot of this happen, across the board, all of these media companies almost grouping together to compete with the likes of Netflix, then coming up with their own streaming partners. I think we've already heard, for instance, under the Warner Media platform that there's likely to be more consolidation within their streaming platforms. These platforms need to become profitable. So how are they going to do that? They just, that's certainly going to be something to watch moving forward. I think for United in particular, we aren't, we're sort of pedal to the metal. I think many of you might have seen our recent announcement about purchasing, the largest purchase of airplanes in the history of aviation. I mean, this is really where we are as a company. We are future thinking. We're not necessarily only thinking about the next few months and where travel may be. I think what we're seeing though is a huge demand in travel overall, both from a leisure perspective and even a lot in the business perspective coming back. Overall, our planes are full, and we're just continuing to think about our growth plan. Like, how do we fly to more destinations with more of the best planes, and really become the leader in the aviation space? That's really the world's best airline is truly our goal as a company.